A father and son just made a wish to a shooting star, but they never expected to swap souls.
爸，儿子。
It turned out that the night before, the young man had wished to grow up quickly and avoid going to school, while the father had hoped to return to his school days to escape the pressures of work. Little did they know, both their wishes would come true. With things as they were, they had no choice but to live each other's lives. The son picked up a briefcase and went to work, while the father slung a school bag over his shoulder, grabbed his thermos, and headed to school. However, as soon as the young man arrived at the company, he took a dislike to his father's office, finding it too old-fashioned. So he had someone bring in his beloved figurines, which made the space much more to his taste. Then he pulled out his phone and started playing games. Meanwhile, although the father was living the student life he'd dreamed of, he found the classes incomprehensible, like listening to and even got called out by the teacher for dozing off. While the father was struggling, the son was in his element. The young man had always been fascinated by data, and the job felt tailor-made for him. In one morning, he finished the work his father had been putting off for days. Upon learning that his father held two important stocks that were still rising, he took it upon himself to sell them both. Then, he set his sights on a junk stock. Behind his father's back, he secretly sold the family's house and car to invest in that worthless stock. His subordinates were baffled by their boss's behavior, sure that the actual boss would fly into a rage when he found out. At that moment, during a break at school, the father came across a female classmate being bullied. The school bully, thinking the young man was still the same bookworm, was about to pick on him when suddenly...
你个高大哥！
And just like that, the father was called to the discipline office for fighting. When the young man heard his father had gotten into trouble, he rushed to the school right away. After hearing the whole story, the young man thought his father's actions were awesome, but the discipline director, overhearing, immediately gave them a scolding. The other students' parents also started being unreasonable, falsely accusing the father of injuring their child and demanding compensation. The young man was ready to argue, but the father stopped him. Cleverly, the father name-dropped an old comrade in the education sector. Hearing that, the discipline director got nervous, quickly switched sides to back the young man, and kicked out the troublemaking student and parents. But as soon as the matter was resolved, the young man got a call from the company's boss and hurried back to work. The father thought this was a sign of recognition, that the company valued him so much they needed him to work late. But when he got home, he was shocked to find all the family's valuables had been sold by the young man. By then, the young man had arrived at the company, only to be stopped by the boss and his father's apprentice. They berated him for selling the two rising stocks to buy that useless one, which was now plummeting, and threatened to fire him. Noticing the apprentice didn't support him, and even seemed eager to push him out, the young man instantly realized the apprentice was plotting to seize power. The boss, even more arrogantly, said, "Beg me, and maybe I'll be nice enough to let you stay as a janitor."
老大只是一时糊涂，你何必如此绝情呢？
再替他说话，连你一起开了。
嗨你！
哎，我只希望他们不要后悔卖出我选的股票。
老东西，睁大你的眼睛看清楚，现在是我的股票在一路猛涨，而你执意要买的红星已经跌破谷底了，等着破产吧！
别急，让子弹飞一会儿。
癞蛤蟆还想吃天鹅肉，还等着翻身呢，你这一辈子都不可能了。
是吗？那请大家看一下大屏幕。
啊！哇，怎么可能？